Game Week 5 preview. We are back after the international break. We're going to go through every single game that is coming up this weekend and talk about who you should be starting and who you should be sitting. We're going to start with Wolves versus Liverpool. Clean sheet percentage chance for Wolves 10%, Liverpool 40%. And that is why we've gone for the goalkeeper, Alisson. Wolves, should be noted, have the 9th most shots in the league at 62. So they are creating some chances, but they have been toothless up top. And I think Alisson will be keeping a clean sheet and potentially getting some save bonus points as well. I wouldn't be surprised if he's in the double points. Liverpool have been impressing this season and improving this season. Darwin Núñez looks like an absolute star as well. So I definitely look at starting him and getting him in if possible this week. The next game, Aston Villa versus Crystal Palace. Could be a bit of a cagey affair, this one. Palace away from home do like to set up shop. But Ezri Konsa I've got down as I think Villa should keep a clean sheet in this game. 36% isn't the highest, but I think it is enough. Villa, it should be noted, have 4 games in the next 2 weeks with Europe and the EFL Cup. So there's definitely going to be some rotation here. The likes of Leon Bailey, I can imagine getting more minutes now that they've got all these fixtures coming up and he started the season so well. They've switched to the 5 at the back. It'll be interesting to see if they keep this at Villa. Crystal Palace, I mean, Edouard's been amazing for them, but majorly overperforming when it comes to XG. So I wouldn't be surprised if that needs to come down a little bit and this is the game where they get a dud. The next game, Fulham versus Luton. Fulham, surprising, XG against is the worst in the league, but clean sheet percentage of 42% versus Luton's 18%. I've gone for Kenny Tete, the right back. He got 5 assists and 1 goal last season. He is their best attacking output from defence. I talked about him in the pickup video 2 days ago. I think Fulham should keep a clean sheet in this game. Luton have had a very, very tough start to the season, but I don't see them winning this one either. I think Fulham are going to make sure that they do not score first and foremost. And Raul Jimenez looks like he's coming back from international duty on form. So that can only mean good things for Fulham. The next game, Manchester United v Brighton. Wow, what a time for Manchester United fans off the pitch. I mean, on the pitch has been hard enough for them. But now off the pitch, they obviously have the Sancho issues. They've got the Anthony issues as well, which means Garnacho looks like to be a nailed-on starter on the wing. Brighton, last time, Evan Ferguson, how good was he? He's someone I tipped beginning of the season to have a breakout. Well, I don't know if last season was breakout, but breakout season this season nonetheless. And it should be noted that he has already got 4 goals, but off an XG of 2.4. So he has been overperforming, but I think he's got the quality and the class to keep that going. Right, the next game, Spurs versus Sheffield United. Spurs with the highest clean sheet percentage this week of 49% versus Sheffield United with the lowest of 9%. Pedro Parra I've got as the nailed on, as I think Spurs should be keeping a clean sheet in this game. Sheffield United have the 19th worst XG against at 2.9. Only Burnley with worse, but they've played a game less with only 3. Spurs, I think there's a debate that needs to be had about Solomon versus Johnson. I think Johnson is going to be the man that starts and seems to have been fancying since the start of the window, and he's gone and got his man finally right at the end. So I wouldn't be surprised if Son moves back to that left wing spot and Johnson plays in the 9, Kulusevski off the right-hand side, of course. The next game, West Ham United versus Manchester City. West Ham have had an amazing start to the season, but they have managed to score 9 goals off an XG of 6.9, so they have been overachieving. But they really have been sitting back, 20% possession and hitting on the counter, and I would expect nothing less than that in this game. Jared Bowen has already got 3 goals this season. And I think with this cagey game that I'm expecting here, I think set pieces are going to be key. James Ward-Prowse, obviously a master for them at West Ham. But for Manchester City, the reason I've gone for Rodri, he likes to get on the end of a set piece, but also he can bang a goal in from distance. I think West Ham will be sitting back in a low block, and he may just have to ping one in. So it'll be an interesting game to watch. I don't think it'll be the best watch. It was not 2 teams going at each other, but it'll be an interesting watch nonetheless. The next game, Newcastle United v Brentford. Clean sheet percentage for Newcastle 41, Brentford 14%. I've gone for Callum Wilson to score in this game, mainly because Isak has not scored since the opening day of the season, and Wilson's minutes has increased from 20 minutes in the first 3 games to 30 minutes in the last game. But it should be noted they were obviously training against Brighton, so it may have been just an attacking substitution from Eddie Howe. But nonetheless, I think it's a bit harsh for Brentford giving Newcastle only a 41% clean sheet percentage, as Brentford have the highest XG so far this season at 9.7, but they have only managed to score 8 goals off that. So they have been slightly underachieving, but someone I've been talking about a lot is getting in Schade for the future. He is the left winger at the time for Brentford. Wizza will definitely be taken, and Mbuemo, I'm sure, is taken in your games, in your leagues, it should be said. But he's the left winger and looks like a very, very good player. The next game, Bournemouth versus Chelsea. Bournemouth clean sheet percentage 17%, Chelsea 35%. Bournemouth, I do not think will be keeping a clean sheet in this game, as they have the 19th worst XG against at 9.1. That's why I've gone for Raheem Sterling, the top scorer at Chelsea, with 2 goals to make it to 3 goals, maybe even 4. Chelsea third best at XG against at 4.3. But the problem is them up top, only 5 goals off at 8.3 XG. That simply is not good enough for someone that has spent so much money on top talent. They need to close that gap, and that means they can push into those top spots. The next game, Everton versus Arsenal. Clean sheet percentage 13%, clean sheet percentage 40% for Arsenal. Gabby Jesus, I think, will get off the mark in this game and score against Everton. Everton have had a very, very good, from a statistical point of view, starts of the season. XG 10th, 7.2, but only 2 goals from that, and they need their new man Beto to close that gap for them. They've got an XG higher than West Ham and Newcastle, and only 0.1 less than Spurs. But Arsenal, what a tough test that's going to be for Everton. XG against second best in the league at 3.7. But their backline seems pretty unsettled so far this season. Gabriel, of note, came in the 4th game of the season, and Timber obviously went out injured very early on. Everton have lost their best creative player, Alex Iwobi, but I think that's time for someone like Dwight McNeil, maybe. Dwight McNeil conundrum coming back to step up and be that creative spark for Everton going forward. And the Monday Night Football, the final game of this week, Forest v Burnley. What a game to have on telly on Monday night. Clean sheet percentage for Nottingham Forest, 33%. Burnley, 24%. I've gone for Nottingham Forest to keep a clean sheet. Willy Bolly. Burnley have the worst XG at 2.4. Granted, they have only played 3 games. And their striker Forest has scored 2 goals. He looks very, very solid. He just does the basics just right. And I like that in a player. But Nottingham Forest, 9th for XG against, and they seem pretty steady this season. They've made a lot of new signings again. Awani has already got 3 goals, which has been incredible for them and big for them at the start of the season. I don't expect him to keep up at that rate. I think he will slow down slightly. And they have lost Johnson, but Anthony Elanga looks a really, really good fit in this team and seems to be creating alongside Morgan Gibb-White to bring up Forest's goal-scoring threat again. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like. Give a subscribe if you want to keep up to date. I do these videos every week, and 5 players to pick up every single game week. Leave a comment down below if there's any players that I missed out or teams that you disagree with. And I hope you win your game weeks. I'll see you in the next one.